Deion Sanders is the biggest name in college football right now. No, strike that. He's the biggest name in football right now. No, strike that too. Deion Sanders is the biggest name in sports as of this moment. It's hard to say someone else out there is more personified, more vindictive, and certainly more of a class character than Deion Sanders. He's everything that college football has been missing for years, and he is absolutely crushing it in his first season with Colorado. I do not want to hear from anybody. I'm going to say this now. What happens when he loses his first game? Okay, what happens? He's tripled the amount of wins in one season than Carl Durrell had in 2. He has 3 wins against not quality teams, but not terrible teams either. And he's probably going to get at least 2 more, if not 3 more. And this team is going to be bowl eligible for the first time since 2020. That's a huge step in the right direction. He's got a son in Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders, both of which have made highlight plays. And here's the reality of it. Shiloh Sanders, if his name was Shiloh Montgomery, would be a superstar. Shedeur Sanders, if his name was Shedeur Johnson, would be a superstar. So it's not the fact that they are being coached by their dad. It's the fact that they are really good players and they're showing their stuff at the Power 5 level. So Deion's built something promising in Boulder that could be long-standing and long-lasting that will absolutely make headlines, rave reviews, and make them a legitimate threat once they join the Big 12. So there was a theory that I heard yesterday that kind of really piqued my interest. Would Deion Sanders be willing to go to the NFL once Shedeur and Shiloh leave? Maybe. The Dallas Cowboys was the team that was brought to my attention. Why not go and go back to the city where you became an icon, a superstar? You won multiple Super Bowls. You were the face of the defense for years. And I think that Deion would work. I do. I think that Deion actually would work in the NFL. Now, I don't think he would be at the same level as what he is in college, but I do think he would be a successful coach because of the buy-in, because of what players know about him, because of his rapport, and especially his background of knowing what is good talent. He was phenomenal when he was breaking down film for NFL Network. He was a big-time name when he was working in the broadcasting side of the booth. Everyone gravitated towards Deion Sanders. But in the same breath, that's why Deion works at college. And that's why I think that Deion is going to stay in college for the remainder of his coaching career. He's a salesman. He sells a program. He sells himself to kids. He sells himself to parents, to those on recruiting trails, to those in the transfer portal. And he's entertainment. And he gets it. And that's what works in college. In college football, what you do is you have to go ahead and find the best talent to build a roster that can actually win national championships. In the NFL, you try to do that, but free agency is a cluster mess. The team that ends up getting the most money is going to end up offering the highest contract. And most of the time, people are going to take that deal. And when you're a really good team, you don't get to draft the best players. You have to suck for years and years and years on end. And then once you get those highlight names coming out of college, you have to develop them. In college, you can do whatever the hell you want. If you bring in the right pitch, guess what? 5-star talent is turning down Tuscaloosa, Baton Rouge, Athens, Gainesville, Pasadena, State College, Columbus, Ann Arbor. They're going to Boulder. Kids in the transfer portal can go anywhere in the country. If they get an offer to play with Deion Sanders, guess what? They're going to go ahead and sign up for it because Deion is different. Deion is an entertainer. Deion is unorthodox. He's brash. He's bold. But he also cares about the product and he also cares about the kids. And that's what really stands out. He's not just selling himself to the school and to the players in the locker room. He's selling himself to parents. Let me be the reason why your kid will eventually play on Sundays. Let me be the reason why your kid will be an upstanding gentleman when he graduates with honors from a major college institution. Let me be the reason why he gets to have an experience that maybe you didn't get to have. Let me be that guy. And it works. And it's phenomenal. And it's something that I absolutely think that you are loving to see from Deion Sanders right now. So he should stay in college. He should. And the other thing that's really important, this could work anywhere. It could work at Ohio State. It could work at Florida. It could work at Florida State, Clemson, USC, Texas. But why not just stay in Boulder? Let me explain for a second. When you go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Nick Saban hangs up the whistle and he's sitting on his old porch in Lake Tuscaloosa and he's eating a moon pie and he's drinking a coffee, the next guy that comes in is going to be held to a certain standard because of that was what was implemented by Nick Saban. And if you fail to meet that standard, you're shown the door. Plain and simple. I do not envy whoever is the first replacement for for Nick Saban at all. I don't. And I can tell you right now, they're not going to last long. They're going to be out of a job within 3 years because they will not meet what the boosters and what the program is expected of them. But if you stay at Colorado, you build this team into something that they haven't seen before. A consistent powerhouse dynasty type program. Deion can be that guy. Don't tell me he can't. Please do not tell me that he can't do that stuff. Because if he's already worked the transfer portal in his favor, and the biggest thing is that he's gotten the talent to develop and build a continuity and a chemistry at an all-time high, that way they've already been competitive. Deion should not have won against TCU, but they did. They shouldn't have won against Colorado State, but they did. They should have been able to beat up on Nebraska, but Nebraska's a joke. So guess what? I'm not falling into that trap. But they still won that game. And imagine if he gets an upset win over Oregon this weekend. Or imagine if he gets an upset win in 2 weeks against USC. Or imagine if he gets an upset win over X amount of teams along the way, and this ends up becoming a really strong 8-4, 9-3 season. And then they go to the Big 12. You don't think that every single recruit in the country is not paying attention to that? You don't think that they're seeing what NIL is doing, what the transfer portal is doing, what type of talent is already there? And Deion knows that this team is flawed. He's not going to go out of his way and say, oh yeah, we're perfect. What he says is the locker room is buying into the culture and the culture is booming. And as long as we continue to build the way that we are, no one is going to be able to beat us. And he's not wrong. He isn't. Because if he can do one thing that most coaches can't, he can say, I know what it takes to be a Hall of Famer. Come play for me. Let me get you there. You don't think that coaches and that players aren't paying attention to that? By the way, look at the staff that he's built. Charles Kelly was a defensive-minded wizard and a great recruiter at Alabama. He didn't have to go to Colorado. He could have stayed in Tuscaloosa, won another national title. Nope. Goes to Boulder, has already made an impact on the defense. Sean Lewis was a head coach at Kent State. He could have stayed there. He could have been a MAC household name. People would have watched the Golden Flashes. They would have been probably 7-5, 8-4. Maybe they would have done enough to win the MAC title. Yeah. Instead, he leaves a head coaching job to become an offensive coordinator. And more coaches, I think, are going to follow that method when they continue to get passed up on jobs because of the easier pathway to get to being a Power 5 head coach is by working at a Power 5 job as a coordinator. So he's building a staff that's promising. He won't have to deal with the drama that is ownership and those who are in the building and a GM. He gets to control everything. He gets to be the salesman that actually turns Colorado into something long-lasting, and he gets to be the boss. He gets to have full control over everything. He does that. Why wouldn't you want that? Deion Sanders is made for college football, not the NFL, and I refuse to believe otherwise at this point. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.